Hello, Brett Gallant, Sierra West Scale Models, and this is a video tour of the O-Scale water tank and handcar maintenance shed. So I just did a quick check and discovered that this was my 16th O-Scale Craftsman structure kit since I founded Sierra West in '95. That kind of surprised me. So that doesn't include the machinery kits I've done, Dull Beers, Mack trucks, things like that. That's just structure kits, 16 of them, wow. So back in 98, 99, when I decided I wanted to do my first O-Scale kit, I chose the 1997 HO-Scale water tank and storage shed as my subject, started working on it, and shortly thereafter purchased CHB models from Charlie Brommer and morphed the water tank upscale into the mill engine and boiler house because I wanted to showcase the double-cylinder mill engine and stationary horizontal boiler. So if you go on my website and check out the mill engine and boiler house, you will see the similarities between the water tank and the mill engine and boiler house. They share a similar footprint and shape. And I kind of like that. That's cool. So this kit has quite a bit of history. I didn't realize it was going to take me over 20 years to bring it to market, but here it is. And I'm very glad that I waited because of the 3D printing technology. So let's talk about 3D printing for a moment. I've devoted the last couple years of my kit development time to learning how to 3D print in a production environment, and really happy I spent that time to do it. There's going to be a lot of new kits coming out now that I've got that behind me, so I appreciate your patience in waiting for new stuff, and this is the first one. So the foundation in this kit is pure Sierra West, but what happens after that foundation is completely new with the 3D printing. So I get asked a lot of times, am I going to discontinue hand pouring resin or spinning white metal castings? And the answer is no. 3D printing is another tool to create castings that I want to bring to market. And you know, that's kind of an interesting subject because in the past, I've always created a scene around the castings that I've had or the castings that I want to master. And 3D printing has completely changed that. I still do that, but now I can create a casting with 3D printing technology specifically to fit the scene I want, because instead of spending days to create a master, it's a matter of getting a drawing, figuring out how to print it properly, and following through with that. And I think this kit exemplifies that beautifully. It is the first kit that I've developed from the ground up in the 3D printing era, and there's so many new things here. The scenes that I've created with the 3D printing castings are just, I'm so proud of them. They're just amazing. And the 3D printed details are so incredibly easy to work with. Things like oil drums and barrels, acetylene tanks, bottles, things like that, they just sit up straight. You don't have to file any parting lines away. They come right out of the box ready to go. The same techniques that we use on my resin and metal castings are utilized here. There's just so many good things about the 3D printing. I can't tell you how excited I am about it. There's so many new things coming out that'll utilize the 3D printing, and it really has changed the face of what I do. But I think what I'm the proudest of is when you look at this kit, even though I'm utilizing this new technology, it still looks like my work. It still has the same feel. And that's that common thread of the weathering and the detailing. So as we look at the different parts of this kit, let's first talk about, let's pick out some things to talk about here. You can go on my website and check out detailed photographs with much more detailed verbal, written descriptions in my verbal audio here. The first thing I want to talk about is that beautiful stone pump house sitting underneath the water tank. So that was mastered by Carl Allison, who I believe is one of the finest stone and brick mastering geniuses out there, if you will. As with everything Carl has done, these are interlocking corners. They go together so beautifully. It's so simple to assemble, paint, and weather. These are hand-poured resin, so there you go. Even though there's a lot of 3D printed detail parts, there's your hand-poured resin in this kit. That is really the focal point, is that beautiful cut stone and brick pump house. So as we spin around to the left side of the diorama, I think this might be my favorite scene. This is the scene where the oil bottles are being filled. There's several different sizes and shapes of the oil bottles. Now, hand cars were very important in the early railroads. They were obviously quite inexpensive to operate because they were humans. They were simple, so they were easy to maintain, but they were very important in delivering small items out into the field. They would deliver crews, the people, but they would also deliver things like these oil bottles. And so that's where this scene came from. So you've got all these beautiful oil bottles being refilled by the oil drum that's sitting on its side on the stand. There's several oil drums off to the edge of the diorama there, waiting for their turn to be utilized. It's a neat little scene, very tight. Great contrast in textures between the rough texture of the scenery and the cut stone and the smooth texture of the quote-unquote glass bottles, utilizing the translucent 3D printed resin technology. Super easy to create this look, so easy. And of course the very detailed instruction manual takes you step by step through every phase of the construction, including the techniques to get all the finishes and the weathering that you'll be seeing as we spin around the diorama. So as we go to the back of the diorama, I love the little scene with the multiple trash cans and barrels that are full of trash. And then of course there's the handcar. The handcar is amazing. This is a 3D printed version of the CHB Denver handcar. It's a simplified version with the decking and many of the guts, the elements being replaced. I will be releasing a separate CHB handcar that has all of the details included if you want to buy a separate one to place in the open bay. As we spin around to the side, all the pallets leaning up against the wall, the boxes filled with couplers and brake shoes, and the far side with the wagon wheel and the sink. Those are two details I like to call out. They're just beautiful. Fully detailed interior, as always, with every Sierra West kit. Just so proud of this. It came out incredibly well. The feedback's been absolutely fantastic, and I appreciate that. So if you're looking for a great new project to work on O-scale, make sure you check out my website for ordering instructions. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a nice day.